Welcome to Cinema Bing Bong, your monthly film magazine program all about my boyfriend, Josh O'Connor. He's a potter, he's a gardener, he's a kind of sweet, unassuming man, but he's also like this generation's Brando, maybe. I'm your host, Amelia, and joining me, who's also your host, is Rebecca, who doesn't do her own intros. How are you, Rebecca?
I'm a little bit thrown off about your boyfriend.
How come? You've met him.
Having a boyfriend. Just because in the show notes there's indications that you don't understand bisexuality, and now
Yeah, I mean, we all get one, I think. That doesn't count, really.
But I mean, it's the same guy that's on the topic of like.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, it's the same guy, but I didn't care for the other guy, so it didn't really.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well, I didn't care for the other guy either.
Oh well, we'll get into that soon.
We'll get to that.
We've got a lot to talk about today. We've got some movies that we've seen. We're going to be crossing live to Cannes, and I've developed a fantastic new game. So what movie are we talking about first, Rebecca?
I don't know.
Signore, sta sognando?
Era un mezzo mago. Così ce lo siamo portato con noi. Tutta quella bellezza, i vasi, l'oro.
Oh, okay. So we're talking about La Chimera first.
Yeah.
Is that right? Okay.
So this is already so off the rails. I just wanted you to say it because I can't pronounce it. We're talking about La Chimera, the new film by Alice Rohrwacher. Is that Rohrwacher?
Yeah, that's pretty good.
Hell yeah, fuck yeah. So this is her latest film. It's set in Italy, and it's about an English kind of like drifter guy who goes to the small town and kind of becomes the king of a gang of Etruscan tomb thieves because he has a preternatural ability to discover like people's graves. Yeah. What did you think, Rebecca?
Yeah, I didn't know until yesterday or the day before that it's the third movie in a trilogy.
What?
Yeah.
What's the first? Oh, no.
I don't know. Well, we've seen the... Okay, so I started with the second movie.
Yes.
Unbeknownst to me, I just saw it. I saw Happy as Lazzaro. And then I saw La Chimera. What? 7 years later?
Good. Solid spacing for a trilogy.
7 years later, saw La Chimera. And then 2 days ago, I rewatched Happy as Lazzaro, and then I went on Wikipedia and it was like, yeah, it's the second movie in the trilogy.
So what's the first? She had 2 movies in between those 2 films. What's the... Oh, no, they're shorts. Oh, they're shorts. Ah. Do we have to watch The Wonders?
Is that what it's called?
It could be. That's her previous feature film.
Yeah, that's the first one.
Well... So we might be missing out on quite a lot. I mean, but basically it's like, I gotta say, Raz, this film like hit every single button that I have.
Ooh.
Yeah, it's got a weird bit in the middle where someone sings a song about the plot of the film.
Yes, that's great.
It's shot on a mix of 35 and 16 millimeter, and it's like, so it just like totally like changes aspect ratio for interstitial shots, and the whole thing is like really grainy and rich and beautiful, and it's like all about weird classical myths.
Yeah, it does have singing in it.
And a guy plays the triangle for like 2 minutes straight.
Does it have accordion in it?
The triangle guy switches to a squeeze box. It's not an accordion, really.
Right. And it also has... Oh, man, I should have written this down. I was having so many tech problems.
We've been off to a slow start this morning, so we've got to take a little bit of warming up. It's also fucking cold, but I'm vibing it. It stars Josh O'Connor as the kind of the British drifter. And I thought I'd never seen him in anything before. It turns out he was an Emma. But like...
Yes, I knew that I had seen him in something before because I saw Challenges?
Challenges.
God. That was a bug. In German news, German film title news, Challenges in Germany is called Challenges Rivalen, like rivals. And no, I was gonna say that the other person besides Joshua, oh my god, I can't even talk. And the other actor.
Yes.
The other significant actor in La Chimera is Carol Duarte, who is a Brazilian actress who our listeners may remember from... we've got to a point that there's a name that I don't know how to say.
Yes!
Our listeners may remember her from The Invisible Life of Euridíce Gusmão.
Not me, never even heard of that. But when I was...
Really?
Yeah. Is it good?
Oh my god, Amelia, you got to watch this movie.
Okay,
it's like horrible. It's like one of those ones where back in the olden times, 2019, in the before times, when the film festival would come to town and it would have so many films, right, that you didn't know like what to pick, like, and then so for me there was like sort of an internal struggle to just pick films that I know that I would like or films that I thought would be significant to see while you have the chance. And then like all the screenings of this had sold out, and then they like did an additional one. It was at the embassy in Wellington, so I was like, oh, okay. And it is depressing, but it is also, it's, I don't know, like sort of, I don't want to say like historic. I can't think of any words. It's like an epic.
Okay. Well, sorry to just bring up some other movie all of a sudden, but it's about these two sisters in the 50s in Rio de Janeiro, and one of them is like a good girl, and then one of them is like seeing boys and stuff, and then her parents like kick her out, and then the rest of their lives, the two sisters are like trying to find each other again, but they can't because there's no Facebook. And they don't ever see each other ever again. And the film shows the whole rest of their lives. Well, I think I've learnt my lesson from not taking Rebecca recommendations. So I'll watch this kind of post haste. When I saw this, I was in the cinema with my Brazilian friend, and when Italia, the character that Carol Duarte plays, she was like, "Oh, the jacaranda trees remind me of my home," and my friend was like, "I knew it! I knew she was Brazilian." I was
Which is like really like funny because I think of jacaranda trees as being from Sydney.
Yeah. I think that the other actor that people might know from this is Isabella Rossellini, who plays like a cool old Italian woman who is the mother of Arthur. That's Josh O'Connor's character's like mysteriously disappeared girlfriend.
Oh yeah, and I was really happy to see Isabella Rossellini in this role because she was in one of the worst movies I saw last year, Cat Person.
Oh no.
So it was like great to see her back on the up.
She's back. She's so back. Rebecca, I know I feel like I'm really enthusiastic like all the time on the podcast. Don't worry, that's going to stop for some of these movies. But this film really, it really got me.
It hit the spot for you.
You know, I love a theme.
I really, really liked the film, but I had a negative theatre experience.
Oh no! Tell me about it.
Well, because I had to see it at the fucking Bridgeway.
Oh, yes.
Okay, so the La Chimera in New Zealand is only showing, and I say showing because this is crazy, is showing as part of the Italian Film Festival. And the Italian Film Festival is travelling throughout the country between April and next January.
Oh my God.
So La Chimera will be showing in Wellington in November.
Well, good luck. Good luck to our listeners from there.
Good luck to our listeners.
If you like a slow movie, you got to see it.
Fuck. And then, like, the opening night of the film festival was at Capitol, but it was $25, and I was like, oh, that's a little bit much, because I didn't understand initially that it was just part of this film festival that was, like, traveling between theaters. And then so I was like, oh, there's like a few more screenings. Like, I'm sure they'll like add more. And then I found out they're not going to add more because it's part of this film festival. So the only other places it was showing was Bridgeway on the shore in Northcote Point. And then it was going to have like a showing like 3 weeks later, I think, at the Lido in Epsom. And so I was like, oh, well, I don't want to wait 3 weeks. And it's going to be on a Saturday, so I can just go to Northcote Point. But then the people there were awful.
Yes. This is the cinema where I saw The Favourite, and people were tutting, and then eventually half of them walked out when gay shit started happening.
Yeah, the only other time, because I'm not from that area, Amelia is.
Rude.
Well, I mean...
Yes, it was my local cinema growing up.
That's your local... It's not my local cinema was Village 8, West City.
Hell yeah.
Later Event Cinemas. And I think briefly it was like Sky City Cinemas or something. Anyway, so... The only other time I've been to the Bridgeway was I saw that movie about Swiss women getting the vote. You know how they didn't get the vote till like 1972? So I only been there once and like no one was at that movie. And then this time I was walking towards the door and then all these other people sped up so they would get in the queue in front of me. And I was like, okay, this is a negative vibe.
Despicable etiquette.
And then people kept like glaring at me, and when... There was like one person serving and there was like 30 people waiting because they had like 2 movies going on at the same time, and he didn't want to say La Chimera, so he kept saying, is it one for the Italian film? And he like just repeated the same like phrase over and over again. So he was like 5 and 7, that makes 12, and that's how you knew that you like had to like tap your card to like pay $12 or whatever. And then I bought a drink, and then the fridge was like in the middle of the line, so I had to like track back and like cut through the line to like reach the fridge. And this woman like didn't move, and she like looked at me like she wanted to hit me.
Yeah.
And I was like, this is an awful place. And then my mum like kept like sort of theatrically laughing because she like doesn't like it if I like criticized anything in public. So I'm like whispering like, oh God, like, oh, this is a weird place. And my mum is like, ha 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 ha.
She's got a really jolly laugh as well.
Yeah, she's like, be quiet. I was like, but then I like, I'm like, I don't need to impress the people of Northcote Point.
No.
I don't. I was like, like every time you go in a cinema that has like a glass cabinet that sells baked goods, you know that there's going to be a terrible vibe in there. Because people are always like, I want a latte. Anyway, and then so in the film, people kept talking.
Wow.
And being like, oh, he's in trouble there, isn't he? Why doesn't he go back to England? Like,
yeah.
Is that his sister? That sort of stuff. Is this really happening? Or is that the imagination? Or is this a dream? Oh, he's dead. Oh, I think he's dead.
They're asking the big questions.
Oh, it's cold in here. I might go to the toilet, like all this sort of stuff. And then I was like, my thought was, what is the age where you can just be normal in a movie? I think you have to be like over 20, but younger than 60.
I reckon 55.
55, you're like, you know what, I'm just going to sit here.
Yeah.
56, you're like, my mind your feet.
I think-
I've got my espresso down there.
As far as I can tell, you hit like 50 and you're like, you know what? I've still got it. I've got some more years I'm going to keep. And then you start edging towards 60 and you're like, fuck it. I'm old now. I can do whatever I want. I'm sick of this shit.
Yeah, you're just like in a movie like, oh, that was weird.
I'm
Like, this was like before we started the podcast, but when I saw After Sun, I saw that at Capitol on like a Sunday afternoon, and it was like mainly people our age, like 30s, with a like sort of like eco indie vibe, and they were like all crying after the movie and like rubbing each other's shoulders and stuff. And then there was one old guy who was like, what was all that about? Oh, a bit of a sad sack, that guy.
Oh, Rebecca.
Yeah, so I don't know. Are your parents like that in the movies?
I have no idea. I haven't been to the movies with my parents in like 15 years.
Oh, wow.
Sorry.
So that was the background of me like trying to enjoy this movie.
And I can imagine it was very disrupted by that because it's quite a quiet, slow movie that really needs you to like live in its kind of weird space.
Yeah, because like when I saw Happy as Lazzaro at the Civic, and it wasn't like super popular, so that was like an ideal environment. The Civic, for our non-Auckland listeners, has a capacity of like 1,500. And it is like two stories. It's like usually like a theatre, and then for the film festival they like screen films in. So that was ideal, and then this was like totally not ideal, but I knew that there was like no other choice.
No.
Because of the stupid festival. Anyway, the movie is great. The vibe that Alice Rohrwacher like curates is like amazing. It's not really like tied to one time.
No. Her movies, it's really hard to figure out when it is supposed to be. You're like, oh, it's vaguely in the past.
It's in the past, because I think that's more noticeable with Happy as Lazzaro, because there's like sort of before time and an after time.
Yeah, well, I mean, I feel like she's playing with it textually in Happy as Lazzaro, and in this one, she's just kind of like, well, this is what the world is like for these people.
This is what the world is like. There's got
tracksuits, but not cell phones.
Yeah. They've got like a record player, but the train doesn't stop here anymore, and there's like a shitty truck. Like in Rohrwacher's Italy, there's always a shitty truck.
The trucks are good. She's really got an eye for like a fucked up piece of machinery.
Yeah, I think that's like in Happy as Lazzaro is like really. I'll explain the plot, right? Just quickly.
Yes, okay, quickly.
The movie is about a group of Italian sharecroppers who have been cut off by flooding, and so they don't realize that they are slaves and it's illegal.
Yeah.
They're just like really, really hard at work on this tobacco farm for this tobacco heiress. I don't know what's her title. I don't know, but it's Della Luna.
Oh, she's like a Marquis or something. Whatever the female.
Her son is the Marquise.
Okay.
But I don't know if she's like the Marchese. I don't know. Anyway, they are like just slaves. And the lead character, Lazzaro, is just like a happy guy who just does whatever. He's just kind of like deeply accepting and kind of naive. He's just...
Yeah. And so everyone thinks he's like an idiot.
Yeah. And then he falls off a cliff. And then...
As they're being like evacuated.
And they're being like investigated. But I was going to say that the like really, really striking shot in that is when they like find out that they're working illegally and like the rest of Italy has like moved on with the technology and stuff. And they're all illiterate, all these farm workers, and they're like carrying their stuff across the river, and then this like bus, this pink bus like comes to pick them up, and it has like an automatic door like comes down and opens. This is such a great shot. And then the second half of the movie is like in a later time that we don't know like when the first time is or when the second time is. It doesn't like really like, it's one of those things that if you think about it too much, it doesn't work.
Yeah.
It's like sometime later, it's maybe 20 years later, and then it's like what became of those people is that because they were illiterate and because they only had this like one work experience on this tobacco farm, they like couldn't really do anything, so they're like living in this sort of, what's that called, where you like live at the side of the road. They're like living by the train station, and then like Lazzaro returns, and then he like sees that everything is like not better.
Yeah. I think one thing that's really interesting about this movie and Lazzaro is that they're like cutting indictments of capitalism in a way that feels very kind of like emotionally compelling and novel. Like I feel like we've seen so many cutting indictments of capitalism that it's good to see one that makes you really go like, this fucking sucks.
Because like in both the movies, like the people have no choice but to steal.
It's really about the kind of like the system that kind of compels you to do these things.
Yeah, both of them are, the movies are just like, oh Lord, we have to do the scam.
Am I allowed to go galaxy brain on La Chimera now?
Yeah, why not?
So I
think that we should like explain more clearly is that he like has sort of a gift for knowing where like buried artifacts are.
Yeah, so he uses
and so they, what
are they called? Dowsing rods? Yeah,
I don't know.
It's called dowsing or divining. So you hold these two rods, and then he can use them to locate Etruscan tombs.
Yeah, and then like a lot of the time he's like, oh, I didn't find anything, and then they all come back later and then like dig up someone's farm, and there will just be a tomb there like filled with priceless treasures. So their whole kind of thing is either they'll do it on public land or private land, both of which is like illegal. And if it's on private land, the guy will be like, oh, Arthur, please come and find I'm sure there's a tomb here. And then they'll kind of like take their stuff without the person who's asked knowing. And then they sell it on to a mysterious figure. And in Lazzaro, they are sort of like raiding the Marchese's abandoned property.
Yes, for like silverware
like heirlooms and
stuff
that they can like sell off,
but sorry, I'm just getting too excited about La Chimera because it's like, so it's this whole thing about how like the way that they're making money is like this kind of exploitation that has to involve them being kind of like totally amoral, because basically everyone is like, you shouldn't go into the tombs. That's like the resting place of the dead. You need to respect that. And they're like, but this is how we have to make money.
Yeah, and if you do go into the tomb, you should be like alerting a museum. Right?
Yeah, exactly.
You shouldn't just like take the stuff.
And then it does so much with this idea of like living amongst the dead. That's like was so cool and interesting to me. So like the birds are kind of like a motif throughout the movie. There's lots of like weird interstitial shots of birds flying. A lot of times characters will like be walking somewhere and a bird will like fly into their face. And it's very like, birds are traditionally psychopomps, Rebecca. You know about this?
Okay.
You know about psychopomps?
No, I mean, I've seen the word before. Sorry if I sound weird. I had to lean back because my back hurts.
No, that's okay. So they're like the thing that ushers you from the land of the living to the land of the dead.
Why does it have to be called psychopomps?
Because it's so cool. It needs like a good name. They can't just be called like ushers. Sad ushers.
I don't like that sound.
I
don't like the omp.
It's funky though.
Yeah, I agree. It's funky.
But then also the film incorporates like elements from a bunch of kind of like traditional Greek Roman myths. So there's a whole ongoing thing where Arthur, the main character, his kind of like missing girlfriend, it keeps cutting to this thing of her following a thread which is very
Invisible string.
which ends up being very kind of, like Theseus and the Minotaur, like
Yeah.
you're in the underground death chamber and you have to follow the thread to get back to your to Ariadne, and then it's also got a big Orpheus thing, where Italia is like Orpheus if Orpheus's thing was being really, really bad at music.
I think that it's like important to know that she's Brazilian. Like as a character, she's also Brazilian in that movie, because I think it was like I was like a little bit confused about, because I didn't remember that she was. I didn't put two and two together about where I'd already seen her from, and I was like, why is she? Because she like offers to teach Arthur Italian.
Yes,
but she's like bad at it.
It's very funny, but she teaches him all the gestures.
She teaches him all the gestures, but when you see it like written down and stuff, it's like spelt wrong, or like even in the subtitles, it's like it's trying to point it to you that it's mistranslated.
Yeah.
I was like, why is she? I was like, is she illiterate? But she wasn't. She's just Brazilian.
She's just quite fun.
And I didn't know like why she was called Italia as well. And then like all the Italians like make fun of her for being called Italia.
It's so good. It's doing so many things that
And
like
it's like
hit me.
the other interesting thing is like what the step too far is. Because like the step too far in this film is to like break a statue to get out of a tomb.
Yes, absolutely.
Like that's what the movie tells us is too far. And in Lazzaro, like it tells us like what the step too far is like robbing a bank.
Well, yeah, yes.
But like in a way, it uses less clearly and like less concisely. It like shows us that there would be a step that's too far.
Yes. It's so I love it. One, because all of those things I feel like if you were going to like study this movie, that's all of the stuff that you would take out. But one thing that I think might just be me being mental, and you can tell me how you feel about this.
Okay, I'm ready to tell you if you're mental.
Is that it was really striking to me. I think I got a little bit of this in Lazzaro, but more in this one, that it feels like you can't call her by her first name. That's weird. But I don't want to say her last name. The director. The director is really interested in like men and masculinity in this really particular way, and it felt like how a lot of male directors approach like female-led movies. It has this kind of like it almost treats masculinity as this kind of like esoteric kind of magical quality. It's like, oh, that like inscrutable maleness. It's so I think it's
because like I guess like Arthur like at one point he gets invited to live with all the women who were squatting in the train station with Italia and her children and some other like single mothers and one of the women who was like previously in the like group of bandits who's like left them now.
Yeah.
He like gets like offered the chance to be their like man and like do man things for them.
Yeah, they're basically like, oh, if you're gonna stop doing this like tomb raiding stuff, if you want to leave the land of the dead, Rebecca, you can come to the land of the living, where women are doing normal stuff like raising kids and cooking food
and knit treatment.
Yeah, knit treatments, like all classic land of the living stuff.
Yeah, and then the like masculinity in Lazzaro is like really interesting because Lazzaro is like he doesn't have those sort of aspects of masculinity.
Yeah, it's
that are evil.
Well, yeah, it's so interesting for him because he performs a lot of the like he works harder than everyone else because they know they can get him to do it and he won't care, and he performs a lot of the kind of like traditional masculine things, but he doesn't like project that or present it or have that kind of affect, and so no one like respects him.
Yeah, and I think that like two of the like more like sort of like most essential aspects of like male characterization is like the relationship with the father and the relationship with women, right? Or like partners or whatever. And like Lazzaro is like totally asexual in the movie and he doesn't have parents. And they're like, at one point someone's like, who are your parents? And he says, I don't know.
He's got a grandma.
He's got a great, he's like, yeah. Well, no. And then the other, like, and then the, like, foil to him is this, like, the Marquise who's, like, who experiences, like, a total twink death between the, like, two acts of the film, right?
Yeah. He's like a kind of like a 1980s pretty boy with, like, a boombox and his, like, Italian cigarettes and his, like, big
and he has
black
a cell
metal
phone for
t-shirt.
some reason.
Yeah, and his, like, big chunky t-shirt. And then when they come back, he's like old Euro kind of guy fallen on hard luck.
Karaoke club owner,
like big coloured button-up shirt that's like a bit dirty, kind of,
and like a long grey ponytail.
Yes, long grey ponytail. Maybe the best deployment of the long grey ponytail I've seen in years.
Yeah, it's like, whatever happened to the beautiful young Marquise? Oh, he's got a grey ponytail now.
La Chimera. It's maybe my favourite film I've seen this year.
Not, no, I can't even do the joke because I forgot what it was called. Immaculate.
Better than June 2.
Oh, a lot of things are better than June 2. June 2 was like an exercise in, like, trying to figure out if I'm, like, part of humanity. You know, it's like, it's hard sometimes because you see so many great films.
Yeah.
And you see so many, like, mid films. And then there's, like, just always, like, one that everyone's like, oh my God, like, this is the film. And then when you're watching it, you're like, why?
Yeah.
Why is this the film? Guys, like, are you seeing this?
Well, we'll hear about that in a little bit. But yeah, I think I can understand people finding this film kind of difficult because it's very slow. It's very.
I didn't hear about anyone finding it difficult.
This is just me imagining. I haven't, like, read any reviews of it or anything. But I think, like, I you know, like, when I watch a movie, my brain is just constantly pinging connections to other stuff. That's just how I work, and this, like, was deeply satisfying for that. It was like everything was talking to something else in a really kind of, like, interesting and unexpected way, and I just it was just good.
The only thing that I had heard was that it's like you don't get that much out of it if you don't know classical references.
That's also true, probably.
No, because I am really not a fan of the classics at all, and so I just don't. It's like that's my blank area.
So you weren't like, oh, Italia is Orpheus.
No, I wasn't like Italia is Orpheus, but I do know about Italy.
Yes,
so I think that sort of like
you're getting a different level to me.
I was like thinking of a different level. This was like I always just think is so interesting that and like is a real like flaw in the sort of idea of film review in the first place is that, you know, you always think like, oh, if you're missing this element then you're not going to understand it, but everyone is like bringing so many different elements to like every piece of media that they engage with that they will just be something else.
Yes.
I like, you know, I fucking have to like constantly talk about this because of my profession.
Books. Being
like, oh my God, like, oh, like it must be so difficult to release a New Zealand book not in New Zealand because people don't know what twisties are or whatever. And you're like, but like to me, like releasing the book in New Zealand as an insane person is like much more, you know, I was thinking of like ranking my identities, especially because I got asked to like write all this stuff about being gay this week. I was like, gay?
That's so far down the list.
I know. I was like, that's so far down the list. I was like, how do I like perceive myself? I was like, firstly, mental. Yeah,
good.
That's like the main thing.
I'm imagining it like with a big illuminated M. It's like the top of the page.
Yeah, it's like, I'm mental. Secondly, and then I was like, after that, I guess like being from New Zealand in an international context.
Yes.
And then, Yeah, it's like being weird like takes up most of it, and then that like sort of like encompasses like queerness as well.
Well, it's the thing that
That's all,
impacts
like-
you the most day to day. Like,
Yeah. And then I went to this event on Friday, and then one of the questions was like, what is the most important, what is like your best quality? And the person was like, being Maori. And I was like, oh, that's like 7 for me. I was just really shocked at that moment, because I was like, I would never have thought to say that. And everyone was like clapping and stuff. Yeah, I was like, yeah, ethnicity, that's, in some contexts, it like comes to the top. But other, day-to-day life, I'm mainly like struggling with like my body and like my brain.
yeah.
I'm not like, and I'm bisexual. Doesn't come up.
Speaking of, actually, there's like 2 more things I want to say. One is that this is just embarrassing for me. It has these shots in the movie where it'll be the camera face up, looking directly at Arthur, and then the camera will like pan down, but it'll do like 180 degree. Like, so it's like upside down.
Yeah, it's
but
really
then,
cool.
But then Arthur's back on the other side. And when that first happened, I was like, how is it doing this? Oh my God, this is incredible. Like, and these people just shoot it. So like, and then the second time they did it, I was like, oh, he ran around the camera.
Josh O'Connor ran around.
He did a little kind of like, whoo, and then the other thing I wanted to say is,
I'm sure he has a level of fitness that he's not like out of breath running around to the other side of the camera.
he's just like,
I don't know which film he filmed first though.
No, oh yeah, he would have definitely had fitness for the next one. And the other thing is that this has like the best use of craft work in a soundtrack I've ever heard. And it was so unexpected.
Kraftwerk.
The band.
Okay.
Because like,
I was going to be like, not the band, right?
the soundtrack is like not Kraftwerk. And then all of a sudden there's like some like synth burble start happening. And I was like, that sounds like Space Lab by Kraftwerk. Well, they're not going to play that. And then they played it like, they played like 4 minutes of it over like a montage of grave digging. And it was really loud as well. Like, it was way louder than everything else that happened in the film. It was so good.
Both of the films have a power plant in them.
Yes.
They're like this beautiful, like, northern Italian countryside. And then they're like, and there's the power plant. And that's where we get the money from.
Eh?
Huh?
The Kraftwerk.
Yeah, that's where we become our craft from.
Yeah, exactly. All right.
That means strength, those. Yeah. Anyway,
10 out of 10. Go see it if you can.
if it comes, it would be better to see it in a cinema, and it would be better to see it in a cinema that's not full of assholes.
Do your best. If you need to, come and see it at Cinema Nova. I had a great experience.
If you need
Carlton.
to see it in Dunedin in November.
For anyone listening that might want to do that. All right, Rebecca, it's time. The movie that's on everybody's lips.
Well, was. Everyone's moved on.
It still is. I see a tweet about it at least once a day.
Oh, okay. No, I did see one.
Yeah.
Yesterday. But mainly everyone's talking about the Star Wars hotel.
Everyone's talking about the 4-hour Star Wars YouTube video. Yes, shout out Jenny Nicholson. But everyone's also talking about challenges.
You think that tennis is about expressing yourself, doing your thing. You don't know what tennis is.
What is it?
Reviling.
Challenges. So you liked challenges, Rebecca?
Yeah, I was loving it. Well, I was anxious because I didn't want to get May Decembered.
Oh, wait, hold up. We got to do the thing. Challenges is Luca Guadagnino's latest film, the man famous for Call Me By Your Name and the Suspiria remake. It's got Zendaya.
That's not what he's famous for.
That's what he's famous for. Zendaya. What else is he famous for?
Well, the people online think that he's famous for Bones and All.
No one will remember that film next year. It stars Zendaya, Mike Feist, and Josh O'Connor. Zendaya?
Yeah, Zendaya.
Zendaya, Mike Feist, and Josh O'Connor as a kind of strange love triangle. It's
bizarre love triangle.
It's a bizarre love. Dun, 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 dun. It's a bizarre love triangle. So
about the age of consent.
Mike's character Art, Josh's character Patrick, they were like besties at boarding school. They became
at tennis boarding
school. Zendaya is kind of like a tennis prodigy. The film is set around like now. Oh God, it's so complicated to explain this stupid movie. Now they're
hey, it's not set now. It's set in 2019.
So, okay.
In the New Rochelle Challenger competition. You should have got me to explain it because I don't hate the movie.
I don't hate the movie either. I don't hate the movie.
You just said this stupid movie.
So in 2019, Patrick and Art are facing off in a kind of like slightly shit competition. Patrick is like not that good at professional tennis, so he's here because he needs the money. Art is like really good at professional tennis, but he's been having some bad matches, so he needs an easy win. He's married to Zendaya, and then the film is based around a series of flashbacks showing the complications of their weird three-way relationship over the course of like 13 years or something.
Yeah, so the time periods are the first time that Art and Patrick meet Tashi.
Yes.
Is that her name? Tashi?
Yeah.
The first time that they meet her and they're like really, really impressed by her and stuff, and then they like try and like it's 2008 and this was very like frat era. They're like trying to get her to come back to the hotel and stuff, and they're just like in awe of her. And then the other time periods are when Tashi and Art are at Stanford University.
Yes.
Playing college tennis, and Patrick has like gone professional. But he's like, that was like a choice that he made, and he's like not doing very well. And then there's 2012 Atlanta, I think, around that time, and that's when they like meet again. And then there's the 2019, which is like the present.
Yes.
Now, what are you going to say?
I found the structure of this film absolutely infuriating.
Why?
It was so annoying to me. It was just so like inelegant.
It was like tennis. It was just switching back and forth.
The current stuff, it was like tennis. I was like, hell yeah. And then it was like 13 years earlier. And I was like, I don't love a 13 years earlier, like, or however many years earlier it was, title card, but that's fine. And then it was like 2 weeks later than that. And then later on it would be like, yesterday, and then it'll be like midnight, then it'll be like 2 years earlier, and then it'll be like 2 weeks later. I was like, God, was there not like a way to tell the story that like wasn't annoying for me specifically?
I really don't like title cards like that.
No.
But I didn't care. I was like, oh, that's dumb that they did that, but then I was like vibing so hard anyway.
Okay,
I just ignored it.
This is just a preface because I feel like I've built up a reputation with you, Rebecca, specifically, that I hate this movie. So I wanted to get out of the way the things that I didn't like first, and then we could talk about how good the movie is.
Okay.
So I also thought it was 20 minutes too long.
Fine. Yeah, every movie's 20 minutes too long. That's just the way movies are.
Because so the way that the structure works is that in the like present day / actually 2019, because the pandemic, Patrick and Art are playing this match, and the way that the match is going is based on historically how the relationships were playing out. Yeah. And tennis games are really long. So there was a point when it was like they were like there was a draw, and I was like, oh cool, we're gonna like get the denouement of the movie. And then it was like, no, we've got like a whole nother like 3 matches now. And that had a whole bunch of and then it had a whole bunch of weird CGI wind. And I was like, this is bullshit. End the movie.
Oh, yeah, that was crazy when there was that whole scene with the wind. But I was just, I just accepted it. I was like, because I think it's like so much better than Suspiria.
Oh, yes.
I mean, that was like the peak of like, what the fuck are you doing?
Yeah. And then there were all...
Because like, I know... Sorry, like Call Me By Your Name is a normal movie.
Yes.
So I was like, oh, I really like that movie. Let me see. I think I didn't know that it was by the same person, actually. I saw it when I was on a trip by myself, and I was like, oh, this sucks. Like, Suspiria sucks. Like, why is Tilda Swinton playing an elderly German man?
Why is Tilda Swinton playing two characters? It doesn't have any... There's no, like, payoff to that. Apart from that she gets to be in the movie
Why is Dakota
twice.
Johnson wearing, like, the worst wig I've ever seen? You know, all of that. Like, oh, why is this happening?
Why does this movie have a set piece instead of a conclusion?
Yeah, anyway. And then I didn't like Bones and All either. I was like, this sucks. This is for teenagers who don't know what love means.
Okay.
You know how what teenagers are like? They're like, romance is when you do anything for someone, including like eating their arms or whatever.
Yes, yeah. We've all been there.
And you're like crying and like eating their arms, all that sort of stuff. And I was like, oh, yuck. I'm 30 years old. Whatever. And then this, I was like, yeah, like now we're like vibing.
We're so back. Yeah, I think the... So yeah, as I said, I feel... I don't hate the movie. I feel kind of mixed about it. But the things that I didn't like about it were... The main reason I didn't like them is because I felt like they distract from the vibe. Because the vibe is so good.
Yeah, I guess that like... I guess your capacity to enjoy the film depends on your ability to ignore the sort of like slightly weird technical stuff.
Yeah, because the moment-to-moment editing is also like sometimes quite weird. Like there were a few things where they would be like walking into somewhere and then instead of it cutting to them being in the place, it would cut to like a swooping shot of the ceiling of the place to them walking in. That was just like, it's, you know, I don't know heaps about editing. It's not wrong, but when I saw it in the movie, I was like, what? I was like, what the fuck is happening? This feels confusing for my eyes.
Yeah, okay,
in a scene that shouldn't be confusing.
You were distracted by that stuff more than I was.
I was so distracted by that stuff. I was like, make the action man kiss.
They only kiss once, right?
They only kiss once. And then implied second time, maybe.
But, sorry, keep going.
I was going to say, should we talk about what's good about the movie?
Yes.
Okay. Soundtrack rules.
Yeah, the best.
Yeah, the soundtrack is by old mate Trent Reznor. Oh, he did it with someone else, didn't he?
Yeah, I don't know who.
Atticus Ross.
Okay.
That's his soundtrack mate. Soundtrack is by Trent Reznor and Atticus Ross. And you know, usually I find their soundtracks fine. I'm like, noisy synthesizers, cool. And in this one, they were like, let's do kind of like 90s a techno / house song that you might hear on the radio, but it's like only the middle section of it and it's really loud.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Be like, dun, dun,
and the screen's like flashing red and stuff.
Yeah.
So you're just like, and I think that's like, it's better if you don't know anything about tennis.
Yeah. And like, to me, that stuff was like jarring in a positive way because it kind of is like, you know, it's emotionally charged, you know, it hypes you up. I was like, hell yeah. Why is
I
this
was
so
hyped.
Because sometimes it will cut in like the middle of a scene, or like 3 seconds into a scene without like an obvious cue. And
you can't even hear what they're saying.
no. And then very often it will just cut off like abruptly. Like when I say it's just the middle of a song, it'll just like start and then it'll just stop.
Yeah.
And I thought that was cool.
Yeah, I would say that like the only things that like got me about the film, I didn't like the pathetic man. I hate that. And
the pathetic man
general.
archetype? Are you talking about Art?
Yeah, Art Donaldson. He was weak. He was weak of face and he was weak of character.
Yeah, so basically in the movie, he ends up marrying Tashi, Zendaya's character, and but he's kind
of... we didn't mention that she had like a catastrophic injury and so she doesn't get to play anymore and she was like the best of any of them.
Yes, that's in the trailer though.
Yeah,
okay, no, you're right. But yeah, so Zendaya's had a catastrophic injury. She's married Art after having had like a fling with Patrick that ended really badly. But Art can kind of never get over her relationship with tennis. She doesn't really love him. She only loves tennis.
Yeah, so the guys, they only really love each other.
Yes.
And
I think
Tashi only really loves tennis.
I think
Well, they only really love her.
Art loves Tashi and Patrick.
Yeah.
Patrick loves art. And Tashi loves tennis. Patrick might also love Tashi. Nah, I don't think so.
They don't seem to like get on that one.
No. But yeah, so Art spends a lot of the film being like, babe, maybe I could retire and then we can be like, just use all of our money to like hang out with our beautiful child. And she's like, I will leave you if you quit tennis.
Yeah, and she's got the jewelry of rich people.
Oh, her? She's got the jewelry of rich people. Yes.
I mean, that was like very distracting to me in the movie.
Yes, because they're all like rich kids.
I was like, oh. But Tashi like wasn't rich before the tennis.
I thought she was.
No, because they said that she was going to support. There's like a bit at the beginning
where
she
supports her parents.
She supports her parents, yeah.
Okay.
With the brand deals and stuff. And then she like, you know, she gets the brand deals for art and stuff. And that's how like she supports them. But Patrick like lives in his car and is like eating Dunkin' Donuts stolen off other people and stuff.
Zendaya's character was like kind of evil in a way that was really good. I feel like...
Oh, but people just won't shut up about that.
I know people won't shut up about it, but but those people are like Zendaya stans. I was kind of like on the fence about Zendaya, and in this movie I was like, oh, okay, I think I get it. Like,
yeah, I was like on the defense. I was on the fence. I wasn't like fully convinced of Zendaya's like acting skills until this is good stuff.
Yeah,
but I was like so convinced by it's like amazing to see Josh
yes
in this and then in La Chimera in the same week, because I saw this first, I saw this first and then seeing La Chimera second, I was like, oh my god, this is his real personality. His real personality is the weird one.
But his real personality is a third different, like...
I mean, obviously it's a third different thing, but it's way closer to...
Oh, yeah, absolutely.
The like body language and everything of like Artur than it is to Patrick Zweig.
Yeah, because he plays a real kind of like dirtbag kind of like Chad rich kid in this.
Yeah, which like you expect like an actor to be like that in real life.
Yeah.
You're like, that's a pretty normal kind of guy to be. It's like 34-year-old English guy.
Yeah, and then in La Chimera, he's like this odd, defensive, strange yet charming, like disheveled guy who will bark at you.
Yeah.
And then in real life, he's like, I like to do pottery and hang about in the garden.
Yeah.
He's killing it.
He's like, I'm going to do more films where I'm gay and more films where I'm Italian.
Yes.
And I'm going to speak Italian.
Yeah, come on. It's the Josh O'Connor spectacular on Cinema Bing Bong.
Like, sucks to be Adam Driver at this point.
I know.
He was like, I'm going to be Italian. And then everyone was like, oh, so you like being Italian? He's like, no, it was just 2 times.
Josh O'Connor's like, step aside.
Yeah, Josh
Scusi.
O'Connor, he was a Duolingo. Anyway, so that was like really surprising. Then I was like much more impressed by his performance in Challenges. Oh, yeah, so the things I didn't like were I don't like looking at a pathetic man. Yes,
absolutely.
Especially like when he's like lying down and he's like, come to bed.
And she's like, not now, I'm thinking about tennis.
That's a deal breaker for me.
Yes.
Yuck. Ugh. I was just thinking, sorry, I was distracted by thinking about how in our days we said deal breaker and now people say ick, which is like an ick in itself. I don't like it when people say that. I don't like ick. I don't like beige flag. I don't like, ugh. Let's just go back to deal breaker. Anyway, the other thing I didn't like was that I was really distracted in the Atlanta 2012 scenes because of the anachronistic furniture.
Okay.
Which was like, I was really frustrated with myself. I was annoyed about that. It's because they go to this hotel lobby, and because they like so like it's 2012, blah, with these like graphics, and then they like go to this hotel lobby where everything is like velvet furniture with like gold accents.
Yeah.
And I was like, that was not
the style.
No, it's not. It's like so like 2017 Kmart. It was like it's off by like at least 5 years. I don't know that like that was it was like annoying that I noticed it, and then it was annoying that I was like thinking about it.
What did you think of the like insane tennis shots? Because basically this movie has to show a lot of tennis, and at the points where it is like, okay, we've shown every like horny shot of these guys that we possibly can moaning and hitting the ball, it kind of gets bored of trying to shoot tennis like tennis and is like, this shot's from the perspective of the racket, this shot's from the perspective of the ball, but then transitions to being an aerial perspective.
I thought it was good.
I thought it was fucking mean.
Yeah, it really... just watching people play tennis, that would have sucked.
I feel like that's like the core of the movie, is like they were putting this together and they were like, I want to see these sweaty hot boys play out their sexual tension via sport, but I don't want to watch tennis.
It really like reinvents the genre of sports movie, right?
Yeah, absolutely.
Like, oh man, I'm going to reference a movie that I can't remember the name of, and that sucks.
Moneyball.
Nah. It's
Field
about
of
tennis.
Dreams.
It's
Wimbledon.
about tennis, and it stars Emma Stone as a lesbian.
Battle of the Sexes.
Battle of the Sexes, thank you. I really enjoyed the movie Battle of the Sexes.
Okay.
Starring Emma Stone as a lesbian, and Andrea Riseborough, who, you know, really suffered last year as the controversial Oscar nominee as a hairdresser who Emma Stone is in love with. It was a biopic. What's the person's name? Tennis McTennis. Anyway, I don't want to tap, so that's why I'm not looking it up. Anyway,
Okay.
So it's a tennis movie, but it's like, I think it's like a really enjoyable movie. It's not like an amazing movie, and it's not like innovative or anything, but just like when we saw it, we were like, this is a feel-good hit of the year. I don't know what year, like what, 2017, 2016 maybe? 17, okay. Same year as Call Me By Your Name and Happy As Lazzaro. Well, they were not the feel-good hits of the year. Sorry. Anyway, that movie and most sports movies, the thing is, are they going to win?
Yes.
So that's like the whole thing. Are they going to win or are they going to lose? Winning is good, losing is bad.
Yeah.
Like, bring it on or whatever. So it's like great to see, like, and then so you kind of like are put off seeing like other sports movies. You're like, I've seen so many sports movies. Like, I've seen Bend It Like Beckham.
I've listened to the Chariots of Fire soundtrack, which is probably better than watching the movie. I'm
always mixing up Moneyball and that one where like Keanu Reeves teaches inner city children how to play baseball.
Yep. Okay. Good. Solid.
Anyway, yeah, and so like you don't like have a sort of, when you've been on the earth for as many years as we have, you don't have the motivation to go and see another sports film.
Yeah, I mean,
But what if you get to see the perspective of the ball and they play rave music over the top?
And I think what's really kind of telling, I guess, about how much the filmmakers cared about tennis, or rather didn't care about tennis, is that, like, you know, as I was saying, like the conceit of like the match versus the story is that like who's winning the points is who is like winning Zendaya's affection. So you kind of think it's like building up. I keep saying Zendaya. I'm so sorry. Zendaya.
Yeah, I know, but I don't want to like point it out. But that would be as annoying.
Maybe I can edit it in. But so as you're building to
because I saw the movie with my mom and she was very unsure how to say her name. So every time, like, you know, like coming out of the movie, she was like, I thought that Zen Daya. This happened like 10 times. Oh my God.
But yeah, so you're building up to this point where you're like, okay, whoever wins this, because we don't know where the relationship is at, it's really fraught, anything could happen. So you're thinking like the movie's going to end with someone winning the match, and that is going to tell you who in the story is going to end up with Zendaya. But instead, and spoilers for the movie, we're going to have to put some spoiler warnings in this episode. But spoilers.
I think that like by now it's very impossible to not have this entire movie spoiled for you.
No, I know, but let's be kind to the people. The end of the movie, instead of showing you who wins, there are several points left to play, and the two main characters just like embrace across the net. It's like how are we going to resolve this? Well, we'll resolve the relationship stuff because you realize that they just care about each other, and that when they play tennis together, it's like ecstasy for them, and it's the only thing that matters. What happened in the match? That ought to kind of be thematic. Doesn't fucking matter. There's so many points left. It doesn't matter. It's not important. The tennis is not the point.
Like, the match is not important anyway.
Yeah.
Like, it's important to Patrick because there's a prize of...
It's like $15,000.
I'm going to tell you right now, I don't remember if it was $4,000 or $7,000. It's possible that it was $4,000 and I converted it to New Zealand dollars in my head when I was watching the movie, and that's where I got $7,000.
I think it was more money than that. I thought he got $4,000 for getting into the semi-finals.
Oh, right. Yeah, something like that. Anyway, it's not heaps of money. It's like not it's not like it's not a super significant tennis competition, and Art's just in it to like sort of get back on his feet. It's supposed to be easy.
Yeah, but Patrick is like doesn't have anywhere to live.
But it's not. Yeah, I mean, I just mean it's like it's not the combination of like a typical sports film where it's like the big final or whatever. Like there's going to be other matches after this. It's not the US Open.
No, absolutely. But yeah, and I feel like that's so interesting, and that also plays into how like Zendaya being like loving tennis more than people makes her kind of like the villain, where I feel like in most sports movies it's like the person who cares about the sport more than anything else, they're like our hero because they like
they're the hero, but they're like, I just do it for the thrill of the game or whatever. But
in this movie it's like,
oh, you should like care about your boyfriends and your child.
you should have a cool like
tennis
polyamorous, whatever you call a polyamorous group with these guys. Come on, Zendaya.
It's like her number one priority, tennis. Her number two priority is tennis brand deals.
Yeah. Number
three priority is having like a Cartier necklace.
And then number 4, her daughter. Number 5, her parents. Number 6 is putting like a special cream on her knee.
Yeah.
Art's like 53 in terms of her priorities.
Yeah. So it's like, it is interesting with these films that become like really popular because they like spawn so much discourse. Is it how much people tend to analyze films like through a social lens? Much more than anything else. Well, I mean, there's like sort of like two camps, right? There's all these like film reviewer type people who review everything from a technical lens and sort of only can sort of perceive films in contrast to other films. And then there's like the second group of people who are like, is Zendaya like a bad person in this movie because she doesn't spend that much time with her daughter? And it's like really frustrating as a person to like sort of like engage with a piece of media and then see there's like these two forms of analysis that are like, the filming of the tennis ball reminds us of Birdman.
Yeah.
And then there's other people being like, he was actually really rude to his Tinder date in the hotel. Like, I think that is like, trying to make it into like a Reddit, like, am I the asshole sort of thing. Is Patrick Swayze an asshole for inviting, firstly, like setting up a Tinder date with the express purpose of staying in a hotel room because he doesn't have enough money? And secondly, was it like really rude to the date that he like went in, he kept looking at Zendaya the whole time?
Yeah.
And then went and talked to her? People were like, talking to her, that was the step too far. I was like, none of this matters. It's not real.
Make them kiss. Make them kiss.
And also, if it was real, like, we need to, it's not really, like, we're not part of it, but this whole, like, obsession with, like, puritanical ethics of dating is, like, really, really boring.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, do you have something to say about...
I was caught up thinking of, like, all these people that were, like, there's, like, a viral tweet that was, like, this is the first time that a man has ever shown me this much respect. And it was, like, someone who was, like, supposed to, like, meet up with someone for a drink on an app and they'd never met before, like, sent, like, a full-page thing about how he was, like, not over his ex and he, like, wasn't in the right place and stuff. And I was like, that happened to me. And I hated it.
Yeah,
I did not feel respected. I felt cringe.
I'd be so annoyed about that.
Yeah, because you're like, and you know, this was when I was younger and did this sort of thing. But you're like, hey, like, okay, we had like pretty good chat. Do you want to meet up? Okay, cool. Like maybe on Thursday we could like go to this place. Okay, cool. And then like the next day being like, hey, I've like thought about this all day and I can't come due to my unresolved feelings for my ex. You're like, I don't care, man. Like I don't know you. I'm not gonna be like, because it's like it like puts it back onto you. They're like, I'm so sorry to have to do this. You're like, damn, like I had like no investment in this.
All good,
whatever.
I think
anyway,
the only other thing I have to say about challenges, sorry, I said that off mic. I think the only thing I have to say about challenges, apart from all of that, is that it's insane to me how highly this is rated on Letterboxd. It was quite a fun movie that had some pretty obvious flaws to it. It's not on the waterfront, you know? I don't know what's going on Letterboxd. It made me feel really weird when I read the Letterboxd reviews because I was like, huh, okay.
I think that people who have apps and want to share their feelings is not like a accurate cross-section of all people.
Yeah, true. I guess I'm mainly looking up old movies on there. So
yeah, and that's like a different
yeah, so
vibe.
I've like calibrated a thing where like I can kind of tell how people feel about a movie based on what the overall star rating ends up. And very seldom do I look up a contemporary release on Letterboxd. Mm-hmm. And so when I looked up this one, I was like, what? Huh? What? But I guess that's fine. That's fine. I just needed to say that to somebody.
Okay.
Okay, so before we move on to my incredible new game that I've devised, I just wanted to briefly talk about Evil Does Not Exist, which I have been very excited for and finally got to see.
鳥肌かえでそうだ鹿の食べた後
So this is the new one from Ryusuke Hamaguchi, who did Drive My Car, that everyone was raving about a year or two ago.
And the other one, right?
The Wheel of Fortune and Fantasy that we won't. We've seen.
We're like constantly mentioning this movie in passing.
Okay, so this movie is about a guy called Takumi who lives with his young daughter in like a village outside of Tokyo, like in a kind of rural, not a rural area, like a forested area. Mm-hmm. What do you call an area like that? That's not rural. What do you call it?
The woods.
He lives in the woods, in a village in the woods. And so he's kind of like the everything job guy for the village. Like he collects water from the stream to be used in the like noodle place, and he's chopping wood and he's doing all the stuff. He's our main guy. But the thing that the movie is about is, okay, so there is a Tokyo talent agency.
Okay.
And they want to take advantage of some government subsidies that have come about from COVID stuff. But because it's COVID...
so they're not just... It's not 2019.
No, it's happening now. Or I guess it's happening maybe last year or the year before. So they've got a limited window in which they can pursue these subsidies. They're using those subsidies to build a glamping site
near
the village. And that's what the movie is about. Yeah. And so all the trailers for the movie made it look like it was going to be like a kind of an Erin Brockovich thing where like, they're like building this thing and people are finding out that it's not everything that it's cracked up to be. And then they're going to do like investigations and they're talking about, it's going to poison the water and then it's got a clip of the water. And then you're like, oh shit, there's going to be so much intrigue. That is not what that happens in the film. The film is like Takumi kind of going about and doing stuff. The guys from the talent agency come to town and they have to do like a town meeting and everyone's like, this is bullshit. There are several reasons why this is not going to really work. Like, you should probably move the septic tank. You're probably going to need to hire a guy who's going to be around at night. You're going to need to watch out for deers because it's on a deer track. Like, sometimes there are fires and they're like, oh, fuck. Yeah, and that's what happens in the movie. And then something crazy happens at the end.
Okay. Wow, I've only seen the poster.
Yeah.
And I've received several emails about it. But I didn't know what it was about. Yeah,
so it's one of the most peculiar movies I've seen in a long time. And I don't want to say like weird or bizarre because I feel like then you think it's going to be like wacky and like psychedelic.
But it's unexpected.
It's just formally very odd. Like the film has maybe like 10 scenes and they're all like 15 minutes long. So like
that scene about that fucking guy.
Which one?
In the Wheel of Fortune and Fantasy where they're like in the taxi being like, and then what happened? Well, I did speak to him for a while and we arranged a second meeting. Oh, will you consider him your boyfriend? Well, that is difficult to say. We work together, like.
Yeah, so it is. So it's like that, except I loved it because I feel like my issue.
That you loved it.
Because my issue with those things in Wheel of Fortune Fantasy is if like
they didn't kiss.
Well, there were a couple of bits in there where I was like, oh, this is interesting. And then there were other ones where I was like, I don't really care about this. And so when you're then like trapped in the room with these people for ages, it's kind of just like, okay, well, now I'm waiting for the next segment to begin. Whereas this, it's like, it's slowly building up to this kind of like tension and this kind of unease and these kind of like interesting thematic concepts
it's like it's building up to something.
Yeah.
It's not episodic.
Yeah, so I mean, like thematically, it's all kind of about like, as we were talking about before, like people being kind of compelled to do things and things they probably wouldn't do otherwise by being like cogs in this kind of like big industrial machine, and how that kind of pushes you to maybe do stuff that's going to fuck up the world for everyone. And like the balance that you have to strike when you're like living with nature and how like getting out of that balance is difficult. And then it also has like, I feel like those are the kind of like the real plot things that you might have even just gotten from the trailer. But heaps of it is about kind of like loss and loneliness and like disconnection between people. And it's just, I think when I first watched it, I was a little bit baffled. I was like, oh, that was pretty good. I don't really understand what happened at the end because the end is just very odd all of a sudden. Like, like it'll be a shot of one thing and then a shot of a different thing and you're like, did that happen at the same time? And then it'll be a shot of another thing and you're like, is that person dead? Or are they not dead? And so I was kind of just like, you sit through this real like slow burn, like there's 15 minutes of people driving from Tokyo to this town, having a chat about using dating apps. And I'm just like, this is cool. This is interesting. The ending happens. You're like, huh? What? But as kind of every day that passes, I'm like, that movie fucking owned. I felt so uncomfortable.
Well, that's good. I think that's good if the movie is like, I think it's good if you figure out the movie like after you saw it.
But I think again, if you're like a slow movie freak, if you're a head for a movie where you just get to like, you're like, oh, here's a shot of a guy chopping wood.
Then what?
Okay.
Okay. Sorry, it was so slow that I didn't understand.
No, he's still chopping the wood, Rebecca.
Okay.
Okay. Oh, he's put down his axe. Oh, he's lighting a cigarette now. Oh, the other characters have arrived. Oh, we're still in this really long shot, and we're going to see them like have a chat. Like if you hear that and you're like, yeah, that sounds kind of cool and interesting, then you should check out this movie. And I think
I don't know if this is a movie for me as someone who likes to watch programs on 1.5 speed.
No. Although, I mean, you watch it at 1.5 speed, everything is going, you're like, oh, wow, it doesn't take any time at all to collect 15 barrels of water from this stream.
Yeah, I was thinking, like, when I watched the 4-hour Star Wars movie video, I was like, oh, I can't speed it up because she's got a high voice.
And she talks really fast.
If I think that if I sped it up, I could still listen, but it would be too high. So I was like, oh damn, we're in it for the long haul.
But this is such an interesting follow up to Drive My Car, because Drive My Car is a real like it is slow and probably kind of difficult to penetrate, but it's also like essentially a film about human relationships, and that's like there's a lot to get from that, whereas. This film is so much more weird and esoteric. I think it's so interesting that he got his like big hit of his career and was like, you know, I had to read a lot of Chekhov for making Drive My Car. Maybe I could make like what if a Chekhov play was a Bergman movie? Like,
oh my god, okay,
yeah, it was cool. I liked it. Are you ready for the?
I'm ready for the next thing.
Are the stars out tonight? Can't tell if it's cloudy or bright, 'cause it all disappear. Oh, it's time for Star Search.
What was that song?
It was I Only Have Eyes for You. I thought it could be the theme tune to the.
Who's it by?
Oh, I mean, is it from the film Dames? But the
like,
Flamingos did a version of it, and Art Garfunkel did a version of it.
I was like, you're singing it in a Stephen Merritt voice, but it's not a Magnetic Field song.
No, it's a film from a 1930s movie musical, so you have to do it in Stephen Merritt voice. So, Rebecca, the way that this game works is that I have chosen 5 movies, and I have found letterboxed reviews of those films that give them half a star.
Oh, what a great game.
And you have to guess what film it is based on the person who hated it. Now, I think we can do this more than once, but for the first time we play it, I thought I would choose movies that literally everyone has heard of. I've chosen 5 of the most famous movies of all time, all from the 40s, 50s, and 60s.
Okay.
So
40s, 50s, and 60s. Okay.
Yeah. When you're thinking of what movie is it?
Oh man.
It's a classic. I've got an easy one to start you off. Are you ready?
It's not Wizard of Oz, 'cause it's 1939.
No.
It's not Snow White and Seven Dwarfs, because I think that's actually this. What year is Snow White and Seven? It's like 1927 or something crazy. Anyway.
I haven't chosen any movies not from those decades.
Okay.
All right. Watched February 9th, 2024. What a dog shit, terrible, bad movie, am I right? It's like the film title of Sucking and being a bad movie. If I had a sled, I would name it Fucking Get Away from Fucking Bad Movie Sled, and then like sled as far away as possible from this terrible, stupid, bad movie. Okay, now that I have your attention, please watch The Bear. Tis on FX and Hulu. It is quite literally the best show of all time. R.I.P. director. You would have loved movie 43.
Citizen Kane.
Ding, 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 ding.
Yay!
Nailed it. I think that one was pretty easy because of the sled content.
Oh man, but I really had to. I was remaining silent so you could read the whole thing without reacting to that bait and switch about the fucking bear.
Incredible, and that bit's in all caps. All right, are you ready for number 2?
Yes. I'm nervous.
Okay. Watched 16 September 2022. I stay hating. Ass movie. I don't get it. There's literally nothing good about this movie. The man character is racist. The French girl isn't American. And the Nazi is a good guy at the end.
Breakfast at Tiffany's?
I can't stop thinking about the phrase, the French girl isn't American. It sounds like a kind of mid-2000s like indie song title. It's not The Sound of Music.
Is there a French person in it?
In the movie?
Yeah. I'm sorry. I'm latched onto the French girl isn't American.
It's the best part of the review.
Yeah, which is the best part of the review, but I'm like, is that accurate though? Does that tell me anything? Is it?
It doesn't have. There's no French woman in it. Okay, that's
so it's
what,
not.
Oh, wait, no,
it's not
fuck.
like okay. So I shouldn't think of like French New Wave films.
No, there is a French woman in it, but she's not the main woman in it.
Is it Casablanca?
It is Casablanca.
Yes.
Damn, Rebecca, you're 2 for 2. I thought maybe this game wasn't going to work, but this is great.
She's Swedish.
Yeah, she is Swedish. There is a French girl in Casablanca, but
Okay.
she's not the main character of the film. Are you ready for number 3?
Yes. All right.
Watched 16 May 2024. Oh, this one's so recent. Try hard film bros will rate this high. Don't listen. Of all the thing, CGI is decent. The plot and writing are atrocious, and there's no worse way to eat 2 hours of your life. It's a hard one, this one.
Okay, so the only clues we have is that Film Bros rate it.
Film bros rate it, and this person thinks it has CGI.
Thinks it has CGI.
Yeah, of all the thing, CGI is decent.
Okay.
So we're looking at an effects-heavy film.
Yeah.
Highly rated by film bros. I'll tell you, Rebecca, this is the latest film on my list.
Is it Planet of the Apes?
No. But you're in the right ballpark.
Oh, man. Okay, and I have to be out loud because it's a podcast.
Yeah, you have
Can't
to be
just
out loud.
I can't think in my head. Okay. So it's that kind of genre. Is it sci-fi?
Yeah.
Is it Star Wars?
No.
No,
That's
because it's
from
not
the
60s,
70s.
it's 70s. Okay, but like something sort of, is it, what's that really long movie? Oh, you said it was 2 hours.
It could be the really long movie. It's longer than 2 hours.
What's that really long movie with space? Oh, fuck.
Oh, you're so close, Rebecca. I can feel it. Do you need a second review?
I think, okay, yeah, just do it, because I think I know what it is and I don't remember the name.
This one is basically going to give it away, but I think that'll be even funnier if you don't know what it's called. Absolutely, absolutely awful film. I had to pause and make sure I started the right movie. I mean, it's called film title. Yet it starts with a bunch of monkeys in ancient time.
Oh, my
Multiple
God.
10 to 15 minute
thought.
segments of just watching a spaceship move. Other 10 to 15 minute segments of listening to some guy breathe deeply as he does mundane things. The AI wasn't really a threat and was in the movie for like 1/4 of the runtime. The ending starts off with 15 minutes of terrible CGI, and then
There were no computers.
and then it zips by in like 1 minute with nonsensical things happening. Waste of time, and I don't understand why people like this movie.
Okay, well, it's 2001 Space Odyssey.
It is 2001 A Space Odyssey.
But this is going to be annoying. I hope that you can help me because, you know, as we all know, Google doesn't work anymore.
No.
So I was thinking of the movie that we all sort of watched, Space Odyssey,
Yes.
when we were like 21.
Are you thinking of Solaris?
Yes, I was thinking of Solaris.
Okay.
And then some people went on to watch Solaris out of the group, and I didn't.
The real heads, the hardcore.
The real
hardcore
heads.
fans.
The real heads watched Solaris, and I did not. But I had to watch all sorts of bullshit at that time because Amelia, do you know this? That I had enough points at uni to have a minor in film.
Really?
Yeah, but I would have used some points I was using for European studies, and I preferred to have that at the time.
Yeah.
But yeah, so I am qualified.
Oh, good. I didn't know that.
To a degree level. I was just thinking about I was just thinking about how I was actually quite lucky at this point in my life that I have like very strong foundation of like classic films because I like did all these fucking film papers because I thought they were really easy.
Yeah.
And I was just feeling glad that I had done that like Latin American film studies paper and Italian film studies paper that I like knew all this stuff.
Well, hopefully that's going to help you out as we move on to number 4. Watched 27 April 2024. I don't hate it as much as I just think it's so strange. I'm forced into disliking it. When you boil down the plot, all that's left is this weird woman infiltrating a family, all while glossing over the time period they live in. Very crazy to me that this is a classic children's film.
A woman infiltrating a family.
Yeah, classic.
Wait, this isn't Sound of Music, is it?
Yes, it is. It's Sound of Music. I thought this one was so incredible because the idea that it's glossing over the time period is like, I don't.
It's not glossing over the time period at all.
It's got like plot critical details
Did they
about
only
like
watch
Switzerland's
the first half?
Incredible.
Did they close their eyes when the Third Reich flag came down?
And you have to like understand like the relationship between these countries and stuff. Like
Yeah.
Okay. All right. We've got one more.
Stop glossing over this by talking about how you're Austrian.
All right. Watched 19 November 2023. Nope. Hated it. Can't change my mind. The end is just a guy telling a girl that this other girl is hot and that she needs to look like her. I don't understand why. It is just so vomit emoji. Director made some good movies. This is not one.
Oh, I'm stuck on this one.
It's a classic. They're all classics.
Yeah, I know they're all classics, and I've got the first 4.
Yeah.
No, I haven't got any grip on this one. What can you give me? It's just a guy telling a girl that she should be someone else.
Yeah, the end is just a guy telling a girl that this other girl is hot and that she needs to look like her. Not the end. I will say, not the end of the film.
What?
That's kind of like
in the film.
That's kind of like.
Is it Grease?
No, it's not Grease. But that is like crucial to that is like the plot of the movie. Like that is what the movie is about. It's not like a thing that happens at the end.
Oh, okay. Another girl is hot and she needs to look like her.
Do you want a clue?
Has it got Judy Garland in it?
No.
Has it got Marilyn Monroe in it?
No.
Okay, well I don't know. I need a clue.
Okay, sorry. I found another review. It's really annoying, all these half-star reviews, because a lot of them will tag themselves as spoilers, and then you're like, okay, that will be useful for my game. And then you click the spoiler, and it'll be just like, fuck this movie.
Yeah.
I didn't need that. Okay. Watched 2 April 2024. Not enjoyable. The first half had narrative value for possession as a metaphor for mental illness, but the second half was dumb. There were even plot holes and moments that were confusing that weren't part of the psychological horror. They were just confusing. Good musical score.
It's not Psycho.
You're so close, Rebecca. You're so close.
Well, it can't be Psycho because he didn't want her to look like his mum.
No.
Oh, man. So is it a Hitchcock film?
Yes.
Is it Rebecca?
No, it's not.
I haven't seen it.
Not. I know you haven't seen Rebecca, so I didn't choose it. But I think you've seen this one. I'm not certain. But I feel like you know enough about, the world that you could get it.
Oh, man. So it's a Hitchcock film where a guy tells her. It's not... That's not the plot of Rear Window.
It's set in the beautiful metropolis of San Francisco.
I didn't know any of them were in San Francisco. Well, it's not the birds.
Rebecca, it's like the most famous one.
The most famous one's Psycho.
No.
Oh man, I'm stumbling at the last hurdle.
It's also not Marnie.
Yeah, I know it's not Marnie. I didn't say that because I know that it's not. It's not Marnie or Frenzy. My favorite Hitchcock film. Is it? It's not the 39 Steps.
I feel like it's not Rope either.
It's not Vertigo.
It is Vertigo.
I don't know what happens in Vertigo.
Oh, Rebecca, you got to see Vertigo.
I'm sorry. I don't know if I've seen it or not because I watched all the Hitchcock films when I was 14.
I think you got to watch it again because you need to see this guy telling a girl that this other girl is hot and that she needs to look like her.
Oh, now I'm looking at the symptoms of vertigo.
It's crucial.
That's very embarrassing. I mean,
4 out of 5 ain't bad.
I haven't seen it. Looking at the plot, I've not seen it.
4 out of 5 ain't bad.
Google.
Look,
Amelia, Google is so bad. Guess what the release date is for Vertigo?
Is it going to be like 2012 or something?
It's the 13th of March, 1997.
Great. Perfect.
Fucking fantastic. Okay, and luckily I didn't say South by Southwest because it's not that, it's North by Northwest.
Yes.
Okay,
well, if I watch that Brazilian movie, you can watch Vertigo because it's good. All right. Okay, that's us moving into the end of the show now. Rebecca?
Yes?
Are you ready to cross to our live Cannes correspondent beaming live from France?
Okay, yes, I'm ready.
All right. Boop, 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 boop. Hi, it's me, Wendell Pennyfeather, and I'm coming to you live from...
That's not the name Oh, I'm sorry, miss. I was expecting to speak to a different reporter whose name was something more like Lindsay Buckfist.
Oh, sorry, wrong number. Oh, hello, it's me, Lindsay Buckfizz. I'm Lindsay Bucksfizz, and I'm here to talk about Cannes. Cannes. So I'm going to stop doing the voice, but we're live in Cannes. Everything's happening at Cannes. Rebecca
Amelia asked me for a European name, and I was like, aren't most people that we hear about at Cannes American?
They are.
And then, yeah, especially because they speak to us in English, so we can read it.
So I kind of just briefly wanted to talk about what's been happening in Cannes, not in heaps of detail, but I think it's going to be interesting because these are the movies that are going to be coming out for the rest of the year.
Yeah, and I think that our listeners, I don't know who our listeners are, but I think that they would be interested.
Yeah.
I feel like the listener that I've made up is interested in watching films, but they are not like immediately up to date with everything that's happening.
Absolutely. That's
reply to us somehow if you think that is wrong and you have a firmer grasp on who our listeners are.
What's your demographic, chat? Okay, so Megalopolis, the new Coppola, extremely mixed reviews. People think it's absolutely mental. Apparently a guy came out to talk to a character on the screen as part of the movie. It looks incredible. I'm excited about it. And I've been
when you think Coppola, what do you think?
Me?
Yeah.
Personally, I think a big strange movie.
I mean, which film?
Probably first Dracula.
Yeah, that's what I was gonna say.
And then maybe
Bram Stoker's Dracula 1992 is like where my head goes.
It's a great movie and it's so cooked. I think people just want it to be like, Apocalypse Now or whatever. But I think he wants to make
Chinatown.
Did he make Chinatown?
But they want it to be Chinatown.
Okay, they do want it to be They want it to be Chinatown. And it's not. It's gonna be like Peggy Sue Got Married. But no, it's not going to be like Peggy Sue Got Married. It's going to be like Bram Stoker's Dracula. And I can't.
Chinatown is Roman Polanski.
Yes.
But that's what they want.
That's what they want. But so I've been following the scorecard.
The hashtag.
the scorecard, and I'm particularly interested in this dude from Le Monde because he has given out the most crosses of anyone. Which is like, this film sucks so fucking bad, I'm not going to give it a star. And he gave Megalopolis 3 stars. So
that is very interesting, yes.
It's so interesting. I think this guy is my guy. He's the horse I'm backing.
Yeah, I don't have a reviewer who I trust.
I haven't read anything he's written. I just like his scorecard.
Yeah, but I mean, yeah.
So the other stuff that's kind of interesting, Furiosa is not in the competition, but it got screened. And pretty much everyone has said it's not as good as Fury Road, but it's pretty good, which I think is kind of as best as you could expect.
Yeah, I was surprised that Furiosa was screened at Cannes.
Me too. But such things happen. The Substance, which is apparently kind of like horrific. It sounds kind of like maybe like the next Titane type thing. Mm-hmm. You know,
I didn't get to see that.
Oh, you didn't see Titane? It's horrific.
Because remember that horrible thing happened to film lovers of Auckland. They
yes.
Okay, so just to recap, and for our other viewers, our other listeners, especially our other listeners in other cities of New Zealand who always forget how fucked up we got.
Yeah.
That they cancelled the film festival just for Auckland and they had it for the rest of the country. But Amelia still got to see a lot of the films because she had screeners.
Yes.
For writing reviews. I didn't get to see any of the films. And then so it was just like weeks of people being like, hey guys, do you want to see Titane tonight? I don't really know, but like, what else could we do? And we were like locked in our houses for like 6 months. And Amelia was like, well, at least I have this screener. And I was like, I'm going to kill myself.
But yeah, people are really excited about The Substance, and apparently it's taking Demi Moore to a whole new level. But then
yes, that film.
But it also
other people think that it's sexist or something.
Yeah, I don't know. I mean, it's got Margaret Qualley in it, who you know how I feel.
Who's got bad taste,
obviously. And an old mate from Le Monde gave it a cross. But pretty much everyone else gave it 3 or 4 stars. So I'm very interested to see what happens with that one.
Okay.
Also excited about the new Cronenberg, The Shrouds.
I don't know if I've ever seen a Cronenberg movie.
I don't know if you would like them. They're quite upsetting.
I'm going to have a quick look. Videodrome, Scanners, The Brood, Fast Company, it could be wrong because it's Crimes of the Future, Stereo, Dead Zone, The Fly. No, I haven't seen them.
Okay, they're very good. He's like one of my favorite directors.
Yeah, I know.
Ever.
Wait, so there's 2 Crimes of the Future.
Yes.
He remade it.
No, they're totally unrelated. He just decided he wanted to use the title. I think it was the first one was like a student film.
Fuck.
I loved the last Crimes of the Future, which a lot of people didn't like, and I'm kind of excited about this one because people are saying the same shit that they said about Crimes of the Future. They're like, oh, it's quite wooden and alienating, and I'm like, yes, Yes.
I am realizing that whenever anyone has talked about the movie Scanners,
Yeah.
1981, I thought they were talking about one of those like late 90s movies. I can't remember the name of it, but it has like a poster, like the poster for Go.
Oh.
And, you know, it's like three like young guys with like blue hair like, in a mall. I don't know what that film is, but I thought that was Scanners.
No, Scanners is the movie where people's heads explode.
Right. Okay. Yeah, that's why I was like, this is weird. That...
I've got to read you the plot summary for The Shrouds that's on Wikipedia.
Okay.
Karsh, 50, is a prominent businessman. Inconsolable since the death of his wife, he invents grave tech, revolutionary and controversial technology that enables the living to monitor their dear departed in their shrouds. It means grave. One night, multiple graves, including that of Karsh's wife, are desecrated. Karsh sets out to track down the perpetrators. This is the film he made to process the death of his own real wife. I can't wait to see this fucking cooked movie. It sounds so good. He makes a special grave camera to watch his wife's body decompose, and then someone's like, I'm going to mess this up.
Yeah, I don't think this is for me.
Not your thing. What do you know? What could
thing.
Do you know what could be
I don't
your
like
thing?
it when bodies decompose. Yes, what could be my thing?
Amelia Perez. Have you heard about this?
Is that the name of the movie?
Yes.
No, I haven't.
So it's got Selena Gomez in it. It's a musical crime comedy. Mm-hmm. And according to Wikipedia, the plot: a woman is tasked with assisting an escaped Mexican cartel leader undergo sex reassignment surgery to both evade the authorities and affirm her gender.
Oh my God.
Yes. Maybe the best plot summary I've ever read in my life. So it's the lead actress who's playing the title role is a trans actress, which is cool. She's Spanish.
Sorry, I'm like distracted because I'm annoyed that I can't remember that name of that movie that's about malls.
Mall rats.
Yes.
Okay, there we go.
I thought Scanners was mall rats.
Also of note is a film about Donald Trump called The Apprentice that got financed by a guy who's now really mad because he thought it would be
I didn't
positive.
know that was actually about Donald Trump. I thought it was an artistic allusion to him.
I'm pretty sure it's actually about Donald Trump.
Because it does really looks like him.
The Apprentice movie, as Donald Trump. Yeah, there you go. So
And they called it Apprentice.
So that has been pretty bad. It's done pretty badly on the old jury grid. It's got a 1.7, and our friend Mathieu has also given it a cross.
From Le
Mans. He gave The Shrouds 3 stars. So still a king in my book. The new Yorgos Lanthimos, Kinds of Kindness, people don't really like it. Which is exciting.
But we don't know.
They said it's his most off-putting movie since Dogtooth, which to me I'm like, good.
Was that his first movie or just his first famous movie?
I think that was his first movie.
I was getting confused between the early careers of Yorgos and Peter Strickland.
Aha. Peter Strickland's first movie is extremely Alice Rohrwacher like.
Okay.
Oh no, he has 2 movies before that. Okay.
He has 2 movies before Dogtooth.
Yeah.
But we don't know about them.
No. He made a comedy in 2001, and then he made a experimental psychological drama in 2005.
But are they in Greek?
I believe they're in Greek.
Okay. So I haven't quite got a handle on what people are saying about Kinds of Kindness.
Well, it's like
just that it is kind of weird.
It's like a what do you call it? An anthology film. Like it's 3 stories, which
I don't love.
People don't like. And I think it's just very off-putting and weird, as far as I can tell. Well,
Right. I just think that I can't think of an example of any. The thing with short story collections that like they just never sort of achieve the same success as just a singular story.
Yeah.
Because you have to get the audience to buy into multiple stories.
And there was one that you want to talk about that I haven't heard anything about.
No, I haven't heard anything about it either. But so I've become interested. This week, I've become interested in the career of Franz Rogowski.
Okay.
I was sorry. I watched 3 videos in advance of this podcast because I think that Polish names with an I on the end are pronounced not E.
Okay.
But he's like German, so I don't know. And then I watched all these videos where he was like hanging out with Barry Keoghan, which turns out it's pronounced like that, and he never said his name. But I was like, Barry is not going to know how to say it. Anyway, so this happened like extremely organically because I watched In the Aisles.
Warum das, wenn's fertig ist?
On Mubi, which I've decided is the best film streaming platform available in New Zealand.
We're open for sponsorships.
We're open for sponsorship. It's definitely the best one, and closed for sponsorships. There's a website called whatsonmovie.com, and it tells you what films are in every region, and then you can just change your VPN. You go on What's on Movie, you type in an actor or director or whoever, or the name of a film, and then it like has a page of that film, and then it tells you like this film is available on like Austria, Germany, Switzerland, or whatever. You change your VPN to Austria, and then you can watch the movie. And in that way, you can watch 2,500 movies.
Okay.
So that's great. Anyway, so I wanted to watch In the Aisles, which is it in Indingen is the German name. It's the same. I wanted to see it in the 2008 film festival, but I didn't get to because I worked at the call center. So I couldn't just do whatever I wanted, could I? And then like the only like screening that was like not in work time was in Massey. We don't have that anymore. Now the film festival's like, it's not all over the place. It's like localized. Anyway, I really wanted to see it because it had Sandra Hüller in it, and I had really liked Tony Erdmann the year before, or 2 years before. But I didn't see it. And then this week I was like, I'm going to watch that movie finally. Now there's been 6 years. It's a pretty depressing movie. It's about these people. It's about working class Germans who are like not someone that we see very much in media or film.
Yeah.
They're living in Eastern Germany, like that doesn't specify, but like sort of like sounds like it's between like Leipzig and Dresden, and they're working at this like big supermarket, and they're like they're on night fill mainly. They're like what are they called? Shelf stockers, shelf guys. They're those guys. And then so Franz Rogowski is playing this character who's like been in jail, and he's like been in trouble with sort of like gang type people, but Germans. He's like been in trouble, and now he's like got this like job, and he's like on the straight and narrow. And then Sandra Hüller is this like woman who's sort of like the queen bee of the like supermarket workers, but she's got an abusive husband.
Yeah.
And then he's like taught, the Christian is the name of the character, he's like taught everything about how the supermarket works and like how to use a forklift and stuff by this like sort of grumpy old man called Bruno, who had like a much better life before the reunification because they were all truck drivers. And now all these truck drivers have become shelf stockers. That's the plot of the movie, but it is like, it's a little bit too hundies.
Okay.
Is that one of the characters sort of just dies.
Yes.
And you're like, oh, fucking okay. Anyway, I thought that I had this is like following on from another part of a previous podcast episode that got cut out.
Oh, no.
But just to summarize that, is that last year when I was in Germany, I saw the movie Sisi und Ich, and I thought that my like German level had degraded a lot and I couldn't understand it anymore. And then I found out there was like an Austrian dialect, which I realized because Sandra Hüller came on, and then I understood everything that she was saying. This happened again. I did not know what Franz Rogowski was saying. And then Sandra Hüller came on. I was like, oh, every other character is speaking like an East German dialect. And also Franz Rogowski has a speech impediment. So that explains it.
Yeah.
Anyway, so that's why I didn't know what he was saying, and I didn't know what others were saying. And then the second movie that I wanted to watch was Passages, which I didn't get to see last year because I was overseas and I just thought they would have it.
Yeah.
I thought they would be screening that in like Germany and Spain or wherever I was, but they weren't.
That seems to be what he's known for. Like when you look him up, it's like, from Passages.
Here's the thing, Amelia. I didn't know that he was in Passages.
Okay.
I was like, I'm gonna watch Passages tonight, and then a work thing happened. Because all of my professional contacts are in different time zones. The work thing happened at 2 a.m.
Of course.
So I did not get to see. And then I was like, I don't have the concentration to watch Passages. I'm gonna watch this other film that I was meaning to watch in the aisles.
He's following you around.
Yeah, and so what a surprise. He is the lead in Passages, and when I watched the trailer for that, I was like, oh my god, he has a speech impediment.
And now he's followed you again.
So I didn't end up watching Passages, so I can't talk about that, but he's followed me again, and that he is at Cannes right now starring in the movie Bird
with Barry
Keoghan.
Which apparently rules.
I don't know anything about Bird. This is where our story ends.
Okay. So the things that I know about Bird is that it's been really well rated. Apparently the director is like she's the three-time past winner of Cannes jury prizes, Andrea Arnold.
What are her other films?
I don't know. According to this, she's like an auteur, which means that we probably, I'm not an auteur. I'm just a normal woman.
So if we like hit up Wes.
Okay, she made Cow. Everyone, I didn't see Cow. Everyone saw. No, wait, she did.
Yeah.
Wait, no.
Because that's what happened in the video that I watched when I was trying to find out how to say Rogowski properly. They introduced everybody else on the Cannes panel first, and they were like, and then this is the casting director who worked on these 5 movies, but she did not work on Cow. And I was like, what the fuck is Cow?
So Cow,
another one of those like donkey movies.
So Cow is a documentary. She's made short films called Dog and Wasp. And now she's made Bird. But she also made a film of Wuthering Heights. She made American Honey, Fish Tank. I have not seen any of these movies. No, I guess we got to check out Andrea.
And where is she from?
She is she's English. She's English. Oh, what does this say? What? She co-presented an 80s children's TV show with Sandy Toksvig. What?
What the fuck?
Okay, so we got to find out more about this woman. I got to tell you, I saw that people were saying that Bird was good, and then the still of it is a 12-year-old girl floating in a river, and I was like, oh
no.
Yeah, nah. But now that I know all of this other stuff about Sandy Toksvig and your East German bestie, let's keep an eye on Bird.
German. I think he's from Baden-Württemberg. Yeah, let's keep an eye. Let's keep an eye on Bird. And my point was, I think that we should be keeping an eye on France.
Okay.
as we are on Josh.
Good. Okay. He could be the next boyfriend.
Yeah.
That's
But
actually...
he sort of like reminds me of someone that we know in person.
He does look like someone that we know in person. I didn't
And
want
he
to say.
sounds like someone the same person.
Interesting. All right. I think that's the end of the show, Rebecca.
Oh, we're going to say what's coming up?
Oh, I mean, Megalopolis got a release in Australia and New Zealand, so that's very exciting.
Yippee.
And I'm excited because the New Zealand film The Convert is finally going to be screening in Australia.
And we found out some insider information that one of the hyped films of the year is going to come to New Zealand.
Which is very cool. Very excited about that.
I am not going to be in New Zealand.
We'll figure it out.
So we will figure it out.
Weirdly, there are two like mini fests running in Melbourne at the moment that are A24 puns. May 24, which is showing all the A24 movies in May, and Gay 24, which is just showing cool gay movies. So,
Can you say it in an Australian accent?
no, can you? Gay 24.
Gay 24. There we
Oh,
go.
there you go. And also, I'm probably going to watch The Fall Guy because apparently it's pretty good.
I'm not going to watch it. I might watch Furiosa, but I'm not sure.
Okay.
Not going to watch If
No, that looks shit.
Imaginäre Freunde, it was called in German.
That's what If stands for.
Yeah, but they have to tell you. Yeah, so I am like a little bit, Yeah, so I found out that I have to travel at the time that the Olympics and the New Zealand Film Festival are on.
No.
You know I love Olympics.
Those are your two big events
Those
of
are
the
my
year.
two things. Yes. It's not ideal, but you know, I'm super grateful and everything.
Yeah. All right. Well, I have been Amelia, and this has been Rebecca, who won't do her own introductions. Where can they follow the podcast?
Oh yeah, you got to follow the podcast. Someone we both know very well personally was very shocked that we have a podcast. And I was like, can you just please pay attention?
Keep up, please.
Please keep up. So we're going to have to post on our personal accounts.
Yeah,
again.
I know. You can follow us on Instagram at Cinema Bing Bong. It would be great for the podcast if you would tell a friend about it. We don't advertise or anything, and obviously, apparently we're not even good at that amongst people that we know very dearly.
Yeah, and people I know are always like, "Oh yeah, I was meaning to listen, but I can't because I haven't seen all of those movies." I was like, "That's
not important.
That's not how it works."
It's not how it works.
Another interesting thing is that the director of In the Isles, Thomas Stuber, he hasn't directed any other movies. Before that or after that, he's directed episodes of Tatort, which is if you don't know, that's like the German Midsummer Murders.
Oh.
That's like in a different, it's in a different place in Germany every week. And it's like very much appointment viewing and people watch it at the pub, stuff like that. Other people think that's cringe. They have cultural cringe about it. Yeah, but he's like directed episodes of that. He's directed ads, and he directed this one movie in 2018.
Cool. I like that. That's a cool filmography to me. Also, if you could rate us 5 stars on your podcast app of choice, but especially the Apple one.
Especially the Apple one. Especially tell your friends. Do a tweet. Do an Instagram. Like, get the word out. Because we have, I'm going to assume, a pretty loyal follower base first 3 episodes.
Yeah. But we want a big one.
Everyone's shown up, but
I want some fair weather listeners. I want some disloyal fans.
yeah, we need to expand.
All right. Do you want to choose one of these emergency questions for us to end the episode on?
Okay, Amelia, a question for you.
Okay.
What contemporary actor would be better actually in silent movies?
I mean, I think for me, it's got to be Sydney Sweeney.
I was going to say Sydney Sweeney.
Yeah, it's going to be Sydney Sweeney. Great face acting, quite bad enunciation.
Yeah.
I feel like she'd be great in like The It Girl or something. Is that what that Clara Bow movie is called? You know.
We could have Ariana Grande in silent movies. What?
How is she going to do her song?
Well, she can sing live. I just think that she would look good. She can make the cross to talkies.